Okay, so guys, let's start with our today's lecture. Okay, so let us continue with the next concept, guys. Let's write here constructors in Java, right? Constructors in what? Java. Let's understand that. So, since we know debugging, this should become easier for us to understand how does this work. So, let's start. Firstly, I'll open up our core Java program file that's somewhere here, and what we will do here now is we will create one simple program to make you understand how constructors they do work. Okay, so firstly, to create a constructor you'll have to ensure whatever the name of class is, constructor name should be same. So let's create here a constructor will not have any return type. Okay, don't write down int or void. See, method has three things: public, which I have not discussed yet. Okay, we have discussed only about void, not a void, and the method name. We did not talk about public, private, protected, and default access specifier that you see here. Correct? We'll come to that later. But now when you create a constructor, just put a parenthesis, opening, closing bracket, and I'm writing 100 in it. Okay? Now if I run the program, you observe one thing. There is absolutely no output that I see here. I don't see any output here. Click on run and there is no output here. Fine. But what I'll do now, I'll create one object and then let me put a breakpoint at this line number 8 and we'll click on debug. Okay. I'll put this breakpoint on line number 8 and then we will click on debug. Now once you have done that, open this debug window. Find which line number am I at. When you click on debug, right click, run as Java application, open the debug window. Let's see this here, which line number you are at now. I don't know, it's not happening. I did not save the program. Hold on, I'll have to do it again. Debug as Java application. Fine. Which line number it has stopped at? Because the breakpoint is at line 8. Now, this line 8, I will do step into. What does step into does? It goes to the place what it is calling. So let's say this line number 8 is calling what? When you click on that, it goes to line 4. So what do you mean by this now? Which means creating an object is calling that constructor. Do you agree with that? If the flow is like this, see again I'm repeating, I'm on debug, correct? Now when I do step into, from line 8 it is going to line 4, which means this new keyword is actually calling this constructor. Okay, it has called a constructor. Step 1, listen very carefully here because you will understand the whole process of object creation. If you now go back here and open this variables section, do you see any object created here as of now? No, there is no object created. This is A1 created here. No, I'm again showing you the steps. See carefully. I'm in the debug window. Fine. I'll open the variable section. Now see, I will do step into. Is any object created? No. Object is not created as of now because I don't see anywhere A1. Do you see A1 inside this window? which means the object's address is not stored in it. Even before the object's address is being stored in A1, this new keyword is calling a constructor, which means my object creation has not taken place. Did you understand the point? What am I telling you? See, what am I analyzing here? When I click on debug, you click on step into. From line 8, I went to line 4. 8 to 4. But when you look at the variable section, variable A1 is not created. My variable A1 has not got object's address. And object's address is not there, means object creation is not successfully done yet. When is it done? After you execute the constructor and come back, then only object creation happens. Which means without calling a constructor, object creations cannot take place. Are you understanding what am I telling you? Yes, whenever you're using a new keyword, constructor has to be called, constructor should run. Only after running constructor, then object created address to. Now see, I'm running constructor. Which line am I at? 4. Step over. Which line? 5. Step over. Which line? Now see, from line 6, where is it going back? I called this from which line? 8. So closing bracket will go back to which line? 8. Now you observe, now it comes back here. After executing this, it comes back here. Now when I proceed further, see the variable section. Now when I proceed further, what got created? Which means this is a very important thing you have to understand. Without a constructor being called, object creations cannot happen in Java. Understand firstly the purpose of constructor. Don't get confused with methods here. Otherwise, methods and constructors, they will look the same. Whenever new keyword is used, it is actually calling a constructor. Once a constructor executes, then only object is created and object's address is stored in A1. Now when you proceed further, okay, the program stops. The program stops and the console has got the output. Let me arrange all of these windows slightly in a proper way, okay, so that we can see these things in a better manner. Fine, in a better manner. And let's take this variable section that you see here, this one, somewhere here. I'm keeping all the windows open. Fine. Did you understand this first part? Online students and offline students. Please tell me. Because we have discussed something very, very important. Let me enable the chat. Let me enable the chat. Did you get this point? Okay. What did I mention here? When you're using new keyword, constructor is called first, constructor runs, then only object is created. Otherwise, object creation and non-static members loading into it will not happen. Are you understanding? If you want to understand this in more depth manner, actually what is happening? When you're using new keyword, I'll debug and show you. Listen. Now I'm at debug point. When you're using new keyword, it calls a constructor. Now, when it calls a constructor, actually one empty object is created, but there is nothing stored in it. Okay? If you want to understand this in a more depth manner, when a new keyword is used, empty object is created, but there is nothing present inside the object, which means it is as good as object is not created. Are you understanding now? What do you mean by empty object? There are no non-static members present in it. What does an object holds? Non-static members. Correct. Non-static variable, non-static methods. This is what is present inside the object. Constructor is not present inside object. Because we are calling constructor, one empty object is created, but there is nothing present in it. So it is as good as telling object is not created. Usually we tell object itself is not created, because what will you do with empty object? An object without any content, does it have any meaning? A gift box and there is no gift inside it, what will you do with that gift box? It is like this, an empty object which has no content. So when does the object gets initialized? When the constructor runs. When the constructor runs successfully, only then inside the object non-static members are loaded. This is called as object initialization. What is it called as? What is object initialization? Now observe. When you now move further, and now when you returned back to this line, that empty object is being initialized, which means non-static members are loaded into it when you return back to line 8 after executing constructor. And now when you proceed further, finally we got the object's address in A1. And now we terminate here. Is this clear, everyone? Yes, everyone clear with this first point? Let's take here now. Let's again write A2 is equal to new A. Now this is a mandatory rule. If you want your object to be created and initialized with non-static member, constructor should be called. Without calling a constructor, neither your object will be created, neither it will be initialized. So now understand here, when I click on the debug icon, I'm stopping at line 8. Step into, it goes to line 4. Step over, 100. Step over, now go back. Now object, empty object that was created, it has now been initialized. However, there are no non-static members here, but it is been initialized. Now, if you want to see how it is initialized, create one non-static member here. Int x is equal to 10. Now, you can see more clearly in the variable section. Observe. Is your object created? No. Step into. Is this still created? No. Now, there is a this keyword here, which means you see there is an empty object present in it. Now it is not totally initialized. Can you look at this keyword x? What is the value of x? What is the value I want to store? Is it initialized? No, it is not initialized. Observe the steps here. Object is created. That is why this keyword got generated. Why you are seeing that this keyword? Because one empty object got created, which means it's not initialized. Look at, there is x and has no value. So that is an empty object. Did you understand now? Now step over. Okay, step over. Now what is it doing? Taking the value. You saw first it called the constructor, which generated an empty object. Now it has gone to this x. I'll again show the steps. If you really want to understand this in detailed manner how it is happening, just carefully listen. I'm at step 9. Which line it is going first? Step into. It went to now 5. Now it calls a constructor. When it calls a constructor, an empty object is created. There is variable x but no value. Got it? Now see, when I do step over, it should go to line 6, but instead it is going to line 4. And now see, initialization of your object has taken place. Variable x with value 10 got loaded in object. Now object is fully completed. Okay, now the object is what? Fully completed. Now there is an object, there is value 10 in it. Now you return back to A1. Now when A1 is created, can you see this A1 has variable x with value 10. Or in short, we tell that without calling a constructor, object creation and object initialization cannot take place. These are two different words. First, object is created, which is empty. Then that object is initialized with non-static members. These two steps has to take place. Then we have to get that object's address and store that into the variable A1. Did you understand? Now, again, is object A2 created? No. So if I do step into, which line is it going to? 5. See, again, what is the value of that variable x? So there is an empty object created, but there is no initialization happened in that. After calling a constructor step over, now what happened? After calling constructor, empty object created. In that empty object, then the non-static member got initialized. Can you see that? What is the value stored? 10. Now when you return back, okay, you see how many objects created? 2. Is it initialized? So constructor has two important major roles to play in your program: object creation and object initialization. Okay, so first objects are created, then objects are initialized, and for that constructor calling is a mandatory step, and without constructor calling, objects cannot be created in Java, objects cannot be initialized. Is this clear? Now step over and that's done. So this is kind of little deep explanation about how constructors they work. But are online people clear about it? Please do let me know. If yes, then only I can proceed further. If you have any slightest doubt here, you can ask me. Is this clear? Yes. So tell me, what are the two things happening when you call a constructor? Please tell me. What is the first step happening when you call a constructor? Object creation. Then object initial. What is object initialization? The non-static variable x, you saw that it was getting initialized and getting stored inside what? The object. Okay, are you understanding now? So object is initialized. Now once object is initialized, there is an object and object has a content. Now I can access that content. Is this clear? So let us access the content further. Okay, now observe here. Now in short, please understand, whenever you call a whenever you create an object, constructor is being called in Java. For every object that you create, constructor should be called. Now if I am creating two objects, constructor is called two times. If I create object three times and click on this run button without debug, then constructor is called how many times? Three times. If it is called three times, how many times will it print 100? Yes, it will print 100 three times. Are you understanding now? Okay, so let's go back to our notes. Let's see constructors in Java. Read the first point loudly. Second point. Now I'll come to this point next. But please observe here. Will this constructor run? No. Why no? Because object is not created. Return type. Okay, we'll come to that. Hold on. Not that example. Okay, not this example. Hold on. Now let us proceed further. The second point, let me explain here. Is this first point clear? Then second point is constructors are always void. Now constructors can never return any value. This is 100% void. Now if anything is void, I can use which keyword? Return keyword I can use. We have discussed this earlier. Void method. Can I use return keyword? Yes. But can you use return value? What do you see here? Remove this. No error. Put the value. Error. So constructors are always void, which means it's not capable of returning values. Okay, it is not capable of what? Returning values. The main purpose of constructor is object creation, object initialization. That is the main foundation of constructor. Okay, and these constructors are made void. It cannot return anything. You cannot return any value in a constructor. That's why if you now carefully see this here, 2 points should have same name as that of class. It is always void by default. Now this example makes sense, that you write your return 100 and that gives an error because constructors are always. So never write any return value statement inside a constructor. Shall I proceed further? Now to call a constructor, we have to create object. Make sense? To call a constructor, we have to create an object. Whenever we create object, constructor is being called. Whenever we create object, constructor is being called. Only after constructor calling, object will be initialized. Did we see that? Yes, because when the constructor is called, empty object is created and only after that constructor is initialized. Initialization of object means loading of non-static members to it. We have defined that here. Is this clear? Constructors are never loaded. Okay, constructors are never loaded to object. So constructor does not belong to object. Constructor is called even before the object creation is done. And non-static members comes into picture after object creation. So constructor is before object creation and non-static method is after object creation that comes in picture. So they might ask in interview, what is the difference between a method and constructor? Right? So you give them some good, technical differences. That's the main purpose of constructor is object creation and object initialization. Whereas method comes into picture after an object is created if it is non-static. Did you understand this point? Online students, offline students, please communicate. Yes. Okay. So now see that this one will print 100 how many times? 3 times. Very good. Is it printing 100 3 times? Now we are going to look at the default constructor. Now there is a question here. Sir, when I don't create a constructor and I create an object, then how object is getting created? I'm writing a1 is equal to new a. Now sir, there is no constructor at all. Just few minutes back you told us if you want to create an object, constructor calling is mandatory. But where is the constructor here? Where is the constructor here? Now, what happens? Listen very carefully. Okay. For now, I'll give you some basic understanding about compile time and runtime in Java. So usually what we do, we create one file with the extension a.java. Okay. And we write in this our programs, which I'm writing it in English. Class A. Right? Class A. And then I'm going to write here public static void main. Okay. And then we are going to write here something. A1 is equal to new A. Is this clear? Now what I'll do is I'll take this program, and first thing on this program I will apply the rule to check is the syntax correct. Who will check the syntax of this program? So we have a concept called as compiler. A concept called as what? Now the job of the compiler is like checking your program is correct. First thing. Like how when you write something in English, today we have these online tools, we paste our sentences in that, and that will tell, okay, your sentence formation is not correct. So that is what is happening, the first step. Okay, checking whether the syntax is correct, checking whether errors are there or not. After that, what it does, it takes this particular complete code, and what it will do now, it will convert that into a byte code. Let's do this here. So what I'll do now, I'll directly paste the photo in chat GPT, and I'll now tell that convert this Java code to byte code. Okay, so now you see that. So how it does, okay, so observe now, this was the original Java code, involves 3 steps, which will come to that. Allocate memory for object, call a constructor. It's very clearly telling, call a constructor, because without that object cannot be created. Store the reference in local variable. Now, okay, what I will do is I don't want any of these things. I'm going to ask here, show me those zeros and ones. Show me those zeros and ones. Okay, so show me those zeros and ones. Now what is the zeros and ones? See what happens, I'll tell you. Zeros and ones. See what happens, I'll tell you. Whenever you want to now communicate with any electronic items, we require signals. For example, I'm taking a remote, I click on the button off, signals are transmitted that will reach the projector, and the projector is off. But how the signals are generated? On the remote, I have here power button. So I'm giving an input. This input is converted into signals. How? So first step is now it's going to convert that input into a byte code, zeros and ones. For example, if it is A, then A is converted to a byte code. So in Java, we have something called as, okay, a concept called as Unicode. Unicode. Now what this Unicode does, if I write int x is equal to, let's say A, okay, I'm storing a character in it. But what is it doing now? When I now try to print x, it is not going to print x. It has converted that letter A to integer value, and that's going to be so that's a fixed number given to it, 97. Now what we do further in order to build a bytecode, we take that number 97. Let's say I'll take a smaller number 10. I got this number. Instead of 97, let's say I got 10. I'm dividing 10 by 2. 2 5s are 10. Remainder is what? 0. 2 2s are 4. 2 2s are what? 4. Remainder is what? Then you take 2 1s are 2. Remainder is what? Now you take this value like this in this direction of arrow 1 0 1 0. Now that is the bytecode. Are you understanding now? Now I got the bytecode 1010. Let's assume that I got the bytecode as what? 1010. Now what basically happens further with this bytecode is this gets converted to signal. 1 means this, 0 means this, then again 1 means this, 0 means this. And this signal is what your electronic items can understand. Now I cannot write the program in zeros and ones. So what we do is we take this complete file and firstly convert that to a numeric value. And those numeric value, let's say take letter C. If letter A is 97, letter B will be 98, letter C will be 99. Now you divide 99 by 2. Keep dividing it. Ultimately you will get ones and zeros. That ones and zeros are then captured into one file. Like this, everything that you see here will be converted into zeros and ones. Are you understanding now? Into what? Zeros and ones. Okay. It's what's that? Haha. All right. Welcome to the metal. Okay. Let's go. Okay. So now see. So there is something it's doing it. See, that's what it's telling now. There are some internal representation of it. Can you see that here now? Right. So what it does now, it's doing all the conversions. Okay. It's all doing to what? The conversion. See what it did. Now we need not worry about it. It is all converting that into zeros and ones. I gave you a high level understanding of it. And that zeros and ones are basically stored in a file in Java called as a.class file. Did you understand this now? Everyone, this is not our job. The Java compiler does this. But now I just want to tell you that this Java code is now represented in the form of what? Zeros and ones. Now this zeros and ones we run and then we get the output. So we run the zeros and one and finally we get the output of our program. So this phase is called as the compilation phase of my program. What does the compilation phase takes care of? Checking the errors in my program, and if everything okay, it will compile the program, meaning it will take my English program and translate that to zeros and ones, and that zeros and ones are kept inside a .class file. Now when you run the .class file, it is like an instructions will hit to your computer and that will understand and give you the results that you want. Okay, is this clear everyone now? Sir, why are you talking about it? Because the next concept requires this understanding. The next thing that I'm going to talk about here about default constructor, this understanding is required. Now observe here, I am writing the program in which file? .java file. Can you see here on the top? Can you see on the top what is the extension of the file? A.java file. So let's take this A.java file. Let's take this up here. This is my A.java file. Okay, I'll paste this in here. Fine, step 1. Now step number 2, this A.java file, constructor is missing. Constructor is missing in my A.java file. Do you see any constructor here? No. But now what will happen, when the constructor is missing, object creation cannot take place. Because what is the guaranteed rule for object creation? Constructor calling. Constructor not called, object cannot be created. So now there is no constructor here. So now what happens is, when this program is being compiled, what we will get? A .class file. But I cannot write a .class file here now. When I compile the program, in the compiled program, listen very carefully, in the compiled program, automatically one empty body constructor is added. Automatically. If it is missing here, during the compilation, one empty body constructor is automatically added. There is nothing present inside that, but constructor is present. In which file? In which file? A dot class file. So this is our compilation. Look at that. I compiled the program. Constructor was missing. So in dot class file, automatically one empty body constructor added. Now can I create object? Yes. Now when you write new keyword, constructor is called, executed, and when it returns back, object is created, initialized, and address is stored in A1. Did you understand this point? Everybody, did you understand these steps? What is default constructor? This concept is called as a default constructor, which means when you don't create a constructor in your program, still behind the scene Java is creating a constructor. Hence, object creations are happening even when I don't create a constructor. Is this point clear? Please tell me, all of you. Yeah? All right, everyone clear with this part? Okay. Now, let's go back here to our notes. Listen very carefully. Now, there's a very important part of our topic in constructor. What we're going to understand here is now, example of default constructor. Do you see any constructor in this program? No, it's not there. Correct? So what happens now? When we run the above program, the following things will take place. What will happen? Program is compiled. Step 1, program is compiled. I think there's a typo here. When the program is compiled, it will generate bytecode that is stored inside a class file. Did I explain that? When you compile the program, it will generate a bytecode and it will store in a class file. As the program does not have a constructor mentioned, do we have a constructor mentioned? As the program does not have a constructor mentioned, then during compilation, automatically empty body constructor will be added in dot class file, and hence object initialization will take place. This is called as default constructor. Is this clear? Everyone online people, please communicate with me in the chat box. Did you all get this? Please tell me. If this is empty with no argument, then why does the compiler? See, constructor is not about keeping a content inside debug. Constructor purpose is what? When you call, Java internally takes care of object creation, initialization. Correct? That object has to be created. When will Java create object? When constructor is called. It's not the content of constructor which we are worrying about here. The role of constructor is important in object creation. Okay? No constructor, no object creation. That's it. So somehow constructor has to be there in your program, and constructor is not a part of your object. So don't worry about the content of the object. Yes, we will come to that part bit later. We can also write some content, some logic building in it, but I'm giving you behind the scenes scenario why constructor should be there. Is this clear? Online students and Deepak, did you all understand this part? Please tell me. This is a little tough concept. Okay. So where will we use constructor in see, real life means what? Project. So our approach will be firstly understanding Java. Then we start implementing Java in projects, clarity automatically will start coming. Now can I give you some realistic example? I'll tell you I'll use a constructor to do so and so thing. You not understand that at all. First you have to understand the concepts well. Then the reality usage of that comes into picture. Is this clear? Okay. Don't worry. We have all that been designed, which we will talk about that further. Okay. See, you might have a lot of people telling real life examples in Java, cow example, dog example, lot of examples they will give. But that's not the way to learn. When you start a project, that's where the reality of Java usages comes into picture. Is this clear? Okay. So that's something which we will take care of it in our advanced classes. Now let's proceed further. Okay, so in this case, object is still created because of which constructor? Default constructor. So tell me, how will you explain this in interview? What are default constructors? Sir, when I don't create a constructor in my program during compilation in my dot class file, automatically one empty body zero arg constructor will get created. I'm repeating the word empty body, no args means zero arguments are there in that. This constructor has how many arguments? So no arg constructor is getting created in dot class file automatically, because of which object creation and object initialization can take place. So how many phases are there in the Java program? This is important, otherwise further you will not understand my language. There are two phases. Compilation phase. What is compilation phase? Converting Java file to dot class file. And what is the runtime phase? Running of dot class file. See, there are two phases here, guys. Keep this in mind. Okay, the first phase is called as, and the second phase is called as runtime. The second phase is called as, which will run this particular dot class file. How many phases are there? Two phases. What are the two phases? Compile time and runtime. Now I have a question for you. Okay, object is created during compile time or runtime? Huh? Compile time or runtime? Right? So object not at compile time. I just now explained to you. If object was created at compile time, then here this is compilation. At compile time, am I able to call constructor and create object? No. Where is after compilation? Where is constructor present? So now I am calling the constructor in which phase? In dot class file. Dot class file you are present inside. That means now in the dot class file code is arranged properly. Constructor is there, object is there. Now you run dot class file and now it will create what? Object. Are you understanding? Yes or no? Able to follow or not? Everyone. Okay. So let's see this here. Right. So what happens when you write this? This checks the syntax, checks whether the class exists and generates the bytecode. This is what is compiler. That's what I said few minutes back. What a compilation phase does, it checks the syntax, errors and things like that. Checks whether this class is present and then converts that into a bytecode. Inside the bytecode now, object present and all the constructors are arranged. And now when you run the dot class file, object creation takes place. So object creation is an activity that takes place during which time? Run time, which means you can confidently tell wrong answers. Right? Very dangerous. Now see that. This is compile time phase. Is object getting created here? No. After compilation only constructor got added. No. So we have passed compilation, right? Compilation took place. Constructor got added. After the constructor is added, now we are creating object to call that, which is happening at which phase? In dot class file, we are calling. When will the dot class file run? During the runtime. Now when you run the dot class file, then only that object calling, that new keyword will call the constructor and object creation initialization takes place. Is this clear? Is this clear, students? Please tell me. Huh? See, today's understanding has to be strong because it is all AI. So they will start cross questioning you like anything in interview. The more well prepared and technical answers you give in interview, they will definitely see that chances of this guy getting selected is high. So what are constructors responsible for? What is the first answer? Object creation, object initialization. That is the first thing. Are the objects created during compile time or runtime? Runtime. You understood the reason why? Because if constructor is not placed inside dot class file, it is missing. Then in such cases I cannot create object. That's why they decided object creation to be kept in runtime. Because in runtime they address this issue. They will put a default constructor and when you run your dot class file, constructor creation will take place. Okay. Now let's proceed further. Okay. So there is no memory allocation that will happen here. When does this happen? So this happens further when I talk about what is heap memory. Okay, we will talk about heap and stack memory later. That all comes into picture when you are running your dot class file. So there's something called a stack and heap memory in Java. I'll explain that in depth manner later. So do you want to practice this much? Huh? Or should I continue? Stop here? Yes, everyone clear with this part? Now from here we can go fast because now we have the foundation of constructors. We know why constructors are required. We can start understanding constructors in depth manner using our debugging skills, right? And that will give us a clarity of the program flow. Is this clear? Okay. So last time, please tell us, sir, I want to talk to you personally and you when you are free. I'll call you and talk to you. Please, can you let me know your free time? I will connect. I'll connect. Give me some time. Not immediately. Probably will connect tomorrow by somewhere around after 7 o'clock. Mintu. After 7 o'clock tomorrow. Okay. Between 7:30 you can call me. I'll definitely connect with you. Sir, we will all install JDK and all. Don't worry about that. I will definitely take care of it. Nothing to worry about those things. Okay. So don't give them just the vague answers. Difference between a method and a constructor. Huh? Now I have another question for you. When are non-static members loaded to object? Think about it. When are non-static members loaded to object? Okay. Non-static members are loaded to object when? Non-static members are loaded to object. Compile time or runtime. Typos here. I know it will take care of it. Why, sir? Obviously, no. First, object has to be created. If you're telling object is created, then only I can load the members into it. No. When is your object created? Huh? Runtime. Only after object is created, you will put non-static members inside it. Can non-static members be put inside it without object creation? No, you cannot do that. Is this clear? All of you? Yeah, I hope today's class you all got a strong idea about it. And tomorrow, and one more thing, people, soon I'm going to convert this into paid batches, right? So we're just preparing an Excel. I will not keep announcing this. And some people are thinking, sir, I will pay the fees by Jan 10th, so I will get another 1 month of time for clearing installment. It's not like that. Jan 15th is my batch start date. So second EMI is Feb 15th. Now you join after 2 months. I will not give EMI for another 1 month there. So my Guru Dakshina, whoever has not cleared, right, which is pending, okay, you know, you are taking the contribution of Guru Dakshina is pending. So that Dakshina, after clearing it, you will all get the details. Don't worry. Since all transactions are online, it can be tracked anytime. Since there is a zero cash acceptance. Okay. So whatever transactions you're doing it is 100% only in my account directly. Is this clear? Right. So once done, you need to share the screen. I'll give it to you, Mayank. Don't worry. The reason is Saturday was not there. So I could not sign the receipt. Yesterday, I got held up with some other work. So today I'm going to sign all of the pending thing. Whoever has paid the fees, let's say on Friday and or Saturday and Friday, pending receipts are there. You'll be getting that soon. Okay, don't worry about that. That's it, guys. See you again. Sir, Jan 23rd, 2024, please add me in this batch. First, I will cross question you, Praveen. I'm not going to add all the students, just when you ask me, just add it. My first question is, what are you doing from 2 to 3 years? You're getting the batches change every time. Every time students come to me, they tell, sir, I'm an old student, change my batch. We change. Again they miss. Then again they come back, we change the batch. 3-4 times I've seen people changing the batches and still syllabus is not completed. Then this time, if I'm giving access, I'll review everything. Because usually it's once, first time changing batch, I don't mind. I've seen people yesterday, someone coming from 2022, 4 years, did not complete the course. He says health reason. 4 years, if health reason is there, how can the person be alive? See, 1 year, 2 year, 1.5 year. And that all 4 years, he has taken at least 5 to 6 times different batch access. Still not completed. So I will review it. I'll be little strict with it. Otherwise, you will not be serious. You will simply join the classes and you will not complete the class. And how do I get the results? So that's difficult. Okay. Sir, for cross question meeting you is required, but you're not even available. No, I'll not be available. Okay, after the class. You have to understand. See, now you'll ask me all about placements. I will take only serious queries. Are you understanding? Somebody will come, sir, I'm 2014, will I get placed? I've already answered that several times. I will not convince like a marketing guy to anyone on the phone call. Please understand that. Now, where I will come into picture, strictly studies, topics you have not understood what I'm teaching you. You connect with me. I will wholeheartedly teach you. You ask me 10 times, topics related question I'll teach you. Placements calls are not coming. You reach me out. I will definitely work on that getting interview calls. You call me and ask the same question which I took it in demo already. Please understand that. Then what happens? Everybody will give me a call. Yes, sir, I'm 2018. Another fellow, I'm 2016. Another fellow, I'll 2022. I've already mentioned. Placements is something calls will come guaranteed. So that's the reason I give certain time for the batches to settle down. First 15 days, I don't talk much. You know why? Because after 15 days, students automatically settle down. They don't get that doubts at all. After that, the genuine doubts will come. Otherwise, you'll keep messaging me, and definitely I will be little choosy in terms of picking up the question. Don't mind. So some questions rise in WhatsApp for till now covered, sir. Questions. Ask me next day in the batch. You have a chat here. Drop a message. And if it is not being covered, or I'm going to cover further, I will mention that in the class. In WhatsApp, we have received a message stating batch starts from 10th March. That's a new batch. Feb, no batch, new batch. Then what FAQ, sir? I went to academy. You said take his name. Staff took my name. I kept asking her, but no. What take his name? Whose name? I don't. Okay, I went to academy. You said take his name. Whose name? Oh, you're an old student. You're an old student. Huh? Old student or new student? Ah, wait then. Little bit of treatment will be given, no? Because of missing classes. All of a sudden, I'll not give access. I will take 100% attendance from old students. I'm very serious. So you just come, you tell and things like that. No, I'm very serious. I'm going to take the complete report of yours, Rohit, firstly. Second, when you joined my classes, how many access has been given? Why this candidate has not completed the classes so far? Then only you will be attending. And after that, suppose I see that your 100% attendance in live class is not there. Attendance gone, classes gone. New students also listen carefully. Okay, that's why we have put an photo based attendance system there, so that you don't put proxies. And online also attendance is tracked in Zoom and even in the app with the timing. Now you tell, sir, I attended all the classes last time. I still have that attendance report. You have to be serious somewhere. How can a student take 4 years? 1 year, okay. Some issues, okay. 4 years, I will question. Right? Who is Rohit Gupta here in the class? Anybody here? Rohit, okay, online. Which, when did you join us? You tell us firstly. फिर मैं आपसे बात करता हूँ. Be serious, guys. हाँ, 3rd December 2024. Okay, आपके लिए ऐड कर देंगे. अगर आप 3rd December 2024 के recent student हो, I will definitely add you. Don't worry. No cross questioning for you. But अभी demo चल रहा है तो किसी को ऐड नहीं कर रहे. Hold on. ठीक है? हाँ, अच्छा हो गया. फोन पे बातचीत करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. बहुत पुराना बच्चा निकला तो क्वेश्चन निकलेगा कि आप 4-4 साल टाइम पास कर रहे थे क्या, मतलब क्लासेस ज्वाइन करके। ओल्ड स्टूडेंट, डोंट वरी।